So also the expulsion and suspension rate for girls of color. They're like almost 10 times more likely to be suspended than anyone of any other culture. And then you have studies that are saying girls with darker skin 3 times more likely to get suspended. Because they witness so much violence, it has started to affect the development of their brain. So many children are failing school.
At Penji is our commitment to helping those who are making sacrifices to help others. Thank you to those making a difference in your community. We are currently accepting applications for Penji for nonprofits. If you know a nonprofit or you are one yourself, head over to penji.co and click on Penji for Good at the bottom of the website to learn how to qualify. If you are listening to this podcast and are not a nonprofit, well, welcome. Become a customer by using the custom coupon code within the podcast show notes. Proceeds of all sales goes directly back to the nonprofit from this interview. Now, back to the show.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unified Purpose, the podcast where we share inspiring tales of compassion, resilience, and community spirit. I'm your host, Shannon, Penji's Partnership Coordinator, and I'm joined here with a very special guest, Cheryl Ann Wadlington. Cheryl is the founder and executive director of Evoluer House, but she is successful in so much more than that. She is a fashion and beauty journalist, author, and one of the 10 to be selected as one of the White House Champion of Change for her hard work towards the enrichment of the lives for marginalized girls of color. Thank you so much for being with me today. Mm-hmm. And please tell me, what does your organization's mission mean to you?
Yeah, so first, thank you for inviting me. And the Evoluer House means everything to me. First, this is our 20th year anniversary, so we're so excited. We're so happy, and we're just surprised that we've made it to 20 years, you know, when most organizations, they stop at 10. So we've made it to the double 20. But it means that we have the opportunity to help girls, particularly girls from inner city, and underserved and marginalized neighborhoods. So what Evoluer House does is we provide programming to help girls to learn, lead, decide, meaning make their own decisions and thrive, because there are so many issues that are impacting teen girls of color from underserved neighborhoods. So we're talking about the school to prison pipeline, where they're being pushed out of school and into prison. And right now, or the juvenile justice system, but right now, they're the fastest growing population in the juvenile justice system. So also the expulsion and suspension rate for girls of color. They're like almost 10 times more likely to be suspended than anyone of any other culture. And then you have studies that are saying girls with darker skin are 3 times more likely to get suspended. The mental health issue, because they witness so much violence, it has started to affect the development of their brain, experts are saying. And then with the failure of school, you know, because of the lack of government immediate response when the pandemic happened, so many children are failing school. So we're here because we have to be. And that's just some of the issues that are impacting them. So, yeah. So that's why I love what I do.
That's incredible. It's definitely, I feel like COVID has impacted so many people, and the education system is one of the places that has taken the biggest hit. And with people that are already negatively impacted by the education system, I can't imagine how much worse that's gotten. I know that even with online learning, it has... there's already so many people are neglected by the education system because it doesn't work for them the same way it does for other people, or even just, I don't even know, being disadvantaged in any kind of way, especially like mentally. There's when you're not in person, there's even less services for you. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's really nice that you guys are doing something specifically like related to that too, and keeping that in mind, because I know that that's definitely been a huge impact to youth now.
Yeah. And so here's the thing too that I often think about when they think about all of the violence in the city of Philadelphia. So studies across the board have shown that young people have given up. They have no hope. So when they know they're being discriminated against. So when all of that happens, I mean, it's almost like, what do you expect to happen? So you need to provide outlets, experiences, opportunity. But I always raise the question, are they really surprised that there's so much violence? What have they done to combat it? Like they're being reactionary opposed to proactive. So, and I think it's fair to say, because we know it costs over $30,000 to keep a child in a juvenile justice system. So our program is like, for one child to attend, it's like $1,200. So it's cheaper to put her in a program like ours, opposed to making us pay taxpayers for, millions and millions of dollars to keep a child incarcerated, and to be proactive rather than reactive after all the violence starts.
I completely agree with that, and I'm really happy that people out there are doing things like you, because I think that people talk about how prison can be rehabilitative, but rehabilitative, but most people are doing that as a reaction because of how horrible it is in there, and that they don't want to go back in, rather than there was no services in there or even afterwards to keep them out or to help them because of the path that they went down, because of how they grew up. That wasn't determined by them, that they didn't choose.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about once a girl goes in the system, it's usually one of the worst things that can happen. And you want to do everything to keep a child out of the systems, and with the S, because our foster care system, people know what happens with the foster care system. And then, say for example, what's happening also with young girls of color, there 40% of the girls trafficked are Black girls, right? So the number's higher. Sometimes they just don't want to scare you and give you the real numbers. And since COVID, it has gotten worse. So you have young children, because I call them children, anyone under the age of 18, who are being arrested, girls, for prostitution, but they are not prostitutes. They have been trafficked. You see, so they're unfortunately going into the system under false circumstances, and for the most part, there aren't people who really, really care.
Oh, that is horrible. I didn't even know that was something that was occurring. I know that there are many people falsely accused of prostitution, but I didn't know it was happening I didn't know young girls were getting put into the system because of that. That's absolutely so disheartening. How can someone...
Yeah.
How can someone put someone in jail for that when they're a minor? That doesn't even make sense to me.
It does. But once they get in that system, it's so hard to get out. Yeah.
Oh. Well, your organization seeks to make things a lot better, and although these are a lot of negative things, let's maybe lighten the mood and tell me where. So what's your favorite part about your organization? Do you have a specific event that you really love, or just something that is I know you probably love everything about it because you're the founder and it's such a lovely organization, but your all-time favorite thing about it?
Yeah, well, we're seeing the girls. First of all, we don't talk with the girls per se or talk down to them. We talk with them. This is their safe space, and we established that from day one. And so it's a confidential place where these girls can speak out, and boy, do we hear some stuff, which is good, because most young girls, the mothers will say they will not talk to us, but they tell us everything, So what we do is I love creating, I can't say create, inspiring smart girls. Smart, educated girls, because that's all it takes. I think, and I love our men, but, it's about time girls step up and, do things that can help rule the world, because I remember I saw a study that said, if you put women in government, you'll have less corruption, So I just wish we could try some of that. We have some women in government, but I'm talking about at the president, high leadership, and CEOs and CEOs positions too, because you hear about a lot of Fortune 500 companies that are corrupt as well. So I like seeing that we are taking part in building future leaders, women who are going to lead this nation. And be honest, and because it's a fact that women will give about 90% of their income to the community and to the family. Men, they kind of give around 30, when you talk about philanthropy. So I love the fact that we are helping to empower smart girls who are resilient.
I really like the way that you talk about this. It's really nice to see, just because the way that you even changed your language when you said that you didn't want to say create, because you can see that they already have the ability to be this. You're just giving them the space to be able to feel that they can. And that's so beautiful.
And helping them to give themselves permission.
Mm-hmm.
They were put here to do something, but society tells them something different.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to inspire it and say, girls can do anything. We're not saying we're trying to be like men. We're not. Okay. We're saying that we can do anything.
And that's incredible. I think I've said incredible like 4 times already. It's just everything is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But so what does your day-to-day look like? Like, what's an average day for you?
My day-to-day right now is very busy because we're doing all kinds of events to celebrate our 20th anniversary. And we're also in the middle of registration. And I'll tell you about that because we're registering girls right now for our summer program. We have three or four programs. We have the youth workforce development. We have the personal development. We have the podcast training program. And we have the Evoluer Girl E-News. I think that's all of them. But we are, our award-winning program and the White House recognized program is the Evoluer Holistic Me Personal and Professional Development Workshop, which is a 9-week program. It starts June 24th and ends August 23rd. It's virtual, so girls from all over the world can register. If you're under 18, your parent has to register you. You can go to our website at evoluerhouse.org to register or call 215-592-8988 to register. So we only are taking in about 40 girls this year. Scholarships are available, and it's free for girls who are maybe from low-income households. But it's a first-come, first-served basis.
That's awesome. Okay, so I hope that people watch this and are able to sign up for that. That would be lovely. And
so that's what my day is looking like right now. We have to get our teachers in gear. We got great teachers. We have PhDs this year. Not that, I'm not saying they're the greatest teachers. Like you have to have a PhD to be a teacher. We're fortunate high quality educators who were screened because outside of education, and I think you and I were talking earlier, that compassion is very important for this population because you have to understand the culture and you have to understand why kids behave and are doing things that they're doing, and unfortunately in the Philadelphia public school system, that is not always the case that the students tell us.
Mm-hmm.
So we got great teachers and we're excited. So my days are very busy right now. This is our busiest time of the year.
How, so all these events that you do have, how are you able to market them and get the attention of the audience that you seek to help, but then also people that may not necessarily care about this cause off the bat?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm one of those I guess you have some people who know how to get attention, I guess I could say. A friend like that, Of course, I'm that way, but I also was a former journalist, so I know how to gather information, disseminate it. We do everything from TV, radio to internet, media outlets, but also we put word on the street, which is very important. We go to the community that needs help the most, and that's those are the girls we want to reach. We also do outreach through social services, shelters, boarding homes. So we really make sure we do strong outreach so that they know who they are. Because sometimes people say, I don't know who you are. And I always say to them, so where are you hanging at, So I said, the White House found us. So
why can't you?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, like really so like is it a lot of like kind of almost grassroots organizing, just like I guess the organization has been from the get-go?
I'm now that I've been in it 20 years, I'm trying to really figure out what do they mean at this point by grassroots, because I guess I think you might sometimes want to put a dollar amount on that. Does grassroots mean that you have under $500,000 budget? Because I know a lot of the grants always say that you have to have over $500,000 budget in some cases to get a grant or to get funded from them. I don't want to call out names. I don't want to call out no names. I could. We just had to. Yeah, we just had to call out an organization for that, and they said, we will take you on as a mentee organization if you have a budget of more than $500,000. And so I had to formulate it. I said, look, how could you say this when over 80% of the nonprofits operate with a budget under $500,000?
Yeah, that really doesn't make sense.
We're out of touch. Or not wanting to get in and roll your sleeves up and do the work to help someone who's at the bottom, you see. So, and it's this whole discussion in philanthropy about how are you going to fund people now? They're talking about trust-based funding, and starting to fund people from the bottom up opposed to the top down, which means, stop giving money to the large $1 million organizations, where it's the organizations who are at the bottom who are doing the real change in the community, and they need to be funded. So I forgot what your question was, because
Oh no, you're okay. I asked if it was more grassroots organizing, but I think you definitely touched on what I was asking. I completely resonate with your idea of not giving to the bigger organizations a lot of the time, because even big organizations that claim to be doing a lot of good work, even though they're nonprofits, I've seen the funding models for a lot of these organizations, and the ones that are supposedly making more than whatever amount of money, but most of that money is going to the top and not towards the people that need it.
I could tell you that I worked as an executive director for years without getting paid, but it wasn't a commitment, and that's how I was brought up, to give back. And there are a lot of people out here who just give back. But there are CEOs, just say, I think I was looking at the Girl Scouts, the national, it might be $500,000 that the executive director's salary is. I mean, don't quote me.
I've looked at this too.
So there are a lot of organizations where these executive directors, even some of my girlfriends, they're making the big six figures, and they got mad at me because I called it out, kind of. We were at this conference, they really got mad at me. And I said, well, it's not that I'm hating, as if they were saying, or jealous, because I'm an accomplished woman, right? I said, I want to bring attention to people who do things and don't expect anything in return. I said, there's something to be said about those people, and I don't want that to get lost, And I was one of those people. I do it because I do some things because I can. So I said, this may be like a me generation where everybody's always like, me, give me. But I also think it's important to have other conversation so we don't forget about those who just have compassion, and that our young people need to see another side, and not just like work to get $1 million paycheck.
Exactly. And I think that if you were making this insane paycheck and then also trying to inspire these girls, I feel like you'd have less backing to stand on. Honestly, like, I don't know if that's fair, but you know what I'm saying is, like, if you could be giving more of that money to the population you're helping, then why, if you care so much about that mission, then would you not be doing that? Of course, you have to support yourself. I completely understand making a living, but I understand that no one needs to be dripping in wealth. I've never seen the necessity for it. There's so many other people that need that.
Yeah, and because you see so much corruption too, and so you have to question it, and I do. I question it. Yeah, because the money helping the people who need it the most. Because what I don't see the numbers going down in terms of disparity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I always say, and I believe we can fix this. We can fix some of these problems. Yeah, we can.
How do you fundraise? And do you have any tips or suggestions for anyone that's trying to fundraise that's also a nonprofit like you?
Yeah, be fearless. You really have to be fearless. And I think we were talking, and I gave an example. I called one congressman's office, and I kept calling, asking for money until the congressman actually called me and said, "Stop calling our office." Right? I thought it was funny.
I think it's funny.
You have to keep asking and stand up for your girls. So, other tips. We do all kinds of things. We do everything from bake sales, candle sales, grants, corporate, we tap corporate. And the tips is really to be relentless. You never know who's going to fund you. I remember we met with a corporation, and they just wanted to come in to teach our girls. And, I wanted to nicely say, well, we have enough teachers. Do you have any money? Organizations. And so after the conversation, they wind up giving us money, which was great, but you have to say something.
You have to not be afraid to ask.
Yeah, because most of these big companies, particularly the ones that handle trust funds and the financial companies, they have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really admirable, because I know that it definitely is really difficult for, I think, just the average person to kind of not be prideful and just bucker down and ask for just even if it's difficult to kind of grovel a little bit when you know that you need to convince them, even though you feel like you shouldn't have to, because it's such an amazing cause that they should probably care about anyway.
Right.
Sometimes you have to convince people, and that sucks. But
yeah, and then you absolutely have to. Another tip is to get past the person when you kind of exhausted everything, and you kind of figure out that, okay, this organization or this corporation just doesn't care about my cause, because they all have their criteria. You have to know when to move on. So I've learned not to stay there too long. I talk to them a little bit and say, do you have the money or not? Are you interested in what we do? And then I move on if they're not.
That's a good thing to know.
I stay away from organizations that try to ask us for too much, in exchange for the funds that they're giving us, because some can be absolutely ridiculous of what they want to demand from us. So for the small amount of money that they may give us, like $5,000, and then they want us to do like a Las Vegas act. And so I stay away from those type of funders. It's not worth it.
Yeah, of course. You're teaching young women to be able to know their self-worth, and you're giving into this organization that ultimately doesn't, or corporation that doesn't care, then who or what are you teaching them, that.
But they all have their, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just complimenting.
They may have their own criteria too, because some are they fund environmental issues, right? So that's fine. So and it just depends on what their interest is. Some may strictly want to do community development, or some may just want to do education. So we try to stick with those who really want to fund the area that we work in, which is education, women and girls.
Mm-hmm. That totally makes sense. So you have to make sure that you're looking for your niche to someone that will care about that same thing.
Yeah.
So we had discussed this earlier, but I wanted to bring it back up. So something that I am personally very passionate about, I lived on a little off of Temple's campus in North Philly, and while I was living there, there was a lot of crime in the area. I'm sure that there might still be now. But a big thing that I noticed when studying there and just living there, because I had neighbors that have been Philly natives for so long. They're not Temple students. They just have been living there for so long. And honestly, I have moved all around Philly. I've been here for now 7 years, and I have never had nicer neighbors than in North Philadelphia. They have lived there their entire lives. Their family has been there for generations. And I think that the most important thing to know about living there is just to be respectful to the people that were there first. And I noticed that Temple's existence there as an institution kind of negatively impacted the area in a big way. And something that I always thought, instead of hiring more private security companies for the area or hiring more bike cops to patrol places, that I don't feel ever changed anything. I always thought that maybe if Temple funded education in the area, provided scholarships for the schools that were in the area code that they were affecting, or even in Philadelphia in general, I think that really would have helped this area, because I didn't living there. I never saw bad people. I just saw people that were frustrated with what they were dealt with. And I don't think that was fair, because I think a lot of kids my age came into college being scared of that area because they had never lived in Philadelphia before. They'd never lived in an area in Philly that had high crime. And I thought that they weren't really being fair to the population there, or understanding where everyone was coming from.
And that's important. You know, when you come into an area, you have to have some type of a care for, you know, when you're penetrating someone else's space. Mm-hmm. So Philadelphia, historically, we have Temple, we have Drexel, and we have University of Pennsylvania. All of them buy up property and displace people in the neighborhood, gentrification. So I don't think it's ever going to stop, because like I know we were talking about how University of Penn, they're going to own all of Philadelphia. So I mean, everywhere I go, they take over the hospitals. You know, you have a UPenn hospital almost everywhere. In beautiful buildings, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's the same. They're building out almost into Center City. Now they're in Center City somewhere. And then Temple, you have to understand too, they did displace a lot of low-income people in North Philadelphia. So of course, you know, in that area, they're not going to be happy about that. But I believe that conversation should be have. I don't know if they have a committee, you know, community outreach, to have a conversation about who we are, what we're going to do, what we can do, and how we're going to do it. So one thing that I find too, that, and what I'm sick of, you know, I get sick of some of these organizations think it's okay to just provide mediocre programs for young people. You know, when they say that they're giving and you just give them crumbs. You know, so, you know, we get tired of that. So we're demanding more, but it's not right, definitely, to answer your question. And I hope to have more dialogue with the colleges and universities about how they can help our girls, you know, particularly University of Pennsylvania.
I think that I completely agree. I think that universities in the area, if they cared more about the areas that they impacted, then they wouldn't have to feel the need to overcompensate to make their students feel safe. I don't know if that makes sense, but
well, that's a whole nother thing with security, safety and security. You know, because sometimes you have to look at leadership. Mm-hmm. I always say that the way an organization runs, newspaper runs, news outlet, it starts at the top with leadership. Mm-hmm. You see. So, you know, if you're on top of your game, certain things will not happen. I mean, we could go on and talk about those universities, and I would have a lot to say. As you know, a lot of people, well, yeah, I'll leave it there. I would have a lot to say, but we're having dialogue with some of them right now. And the thing that we have to look out for is them not thinking it's okay to treat us like crap because we're a Black-led organization. So, and we don't.
That's good. They shouldn't take any crap from that.
But it happens, and that's the mindset of, people. So, but we're changing. We're helping to change mindsets.
That's amazing. I think that's where it all starts, for sure. Oh, awesome. And then, so your organization aims to produce strong female leaders. What are some female leaders that you think of when you try to model yourself or help young girls model themselves after?
Yeah, well, I don't want to age me by talking about who I admire, because if I say who I admire, it would age me. So, but my mother was an activist, and she used to be our home. She opened up her home to be a March of Dimes drop-off center. She also fought for quality education for students of color in the neighborhood and helped get schools built in our community so young children wouldn't have to walk through dangerous neighborhoods to get to school. And then, I grew up watching my brother, who was an AIDS education advocate, and he helped build one of the largest AIDS education institutions in the country that still stands to this day. It's called Babashi, him and Dr. Rashida Hassan. And so today that organization serves up to 20,000 people in the LGBT community a year. And my brother passed away, but I got to see him leave a legacy, and my mother to leave a legacy. And then I have mentors who walked alongside Dr. King. And, I saw them, they told me stories about how they used to get the fire hose squirted on them when they would march in Selma, Alabama for freedom. And they would sick the dogs on them, and they would get bit by dogs and all of that, all of that fighting for our freedom. So that's what I grew up seeing.
It's beautiful that you're able to not only model yourself after all these people that have influenced you and inspired you, but that you have grown up with such powerful and admirable people, and you feel inclined to do the same for other people. That's really amazing.
And I always say, and this is an example of when we teach girls, when you are around a foundation of certain things, children see that, they model it. I had no idea I'd be doing what I'm doing today. I thought by being in the fashion industry with all the fabulous people, I thought I'd be on the left bank of Paris sipping champagne, every day, seriously, waking up, putting on a swimsuit, just having a ball with all these fabulous friends and just wearing fashion designer clothes every day. But I learned in reality, it's something like all roads lead home, no matter where you go. And so for me, all roads led right back to the foundation that I learned as a little girl.
And then my last question for you today is, can you just share more about the volunteer process and how people can get involved?
We are looking for volunteers and it's a list of the volunteer opportunities, everything from fundraising to writer and editors, videographers, photographers. It's on our website. If you go to our website and look under the link that says Get Involved, you'll see volunteer, host a fundraiser, and you just click on the one that says volunteer. It'll tell you how you can go about volunteering. There's a volunteer interest form there. And we're just hoping that we can have people who really care and who can do some stuff, who really want to roll up their sleeve and get it done. We love those kind of people. So, yeah, they can go right to our website again. That website is evoluerhouse.org.
Amazing. Well, really, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate everything. And it was lovely talking to you again. I still think I got even more out of this conversation. It was really genuinely, I love everything that you do, and the success that you've had is so cool. I
think I might start using Penji, because that's who does this show, right?
Yes, we have actually a program called Penji for Good, where we have nonprofits can sign up, and we only charge you $1 a month for the first 3 months to be able to use our services. And then for life, it's 25% off after that for you.
Oh, alrighty. So yeah, I'm going to be using Penji.
That would be incredible. I would really like that.
You do social media, don't you? Do you do
Yes, we do. We do social media. Anything that's graphics related. We even do video editing, things like that. It depends on the plan that you want specifically and what you want done. But yes, social media is definitely something that we do.
Okay. So, okay, Shannon, it was wonderful talking to you. And, I hope to stay in touch and let me know when this runs.
Yes, of course. I will let you know as soon as possible.
All right.
And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it again.
Oh, look, no problem. All right. I hope to come back sometime in the near future so we can finish those other conversations.
That would be great. Anytime.
So we'll be in touch, okay?
Yes. Thank you so much. And Jen, have a lovely day. Have a lovely week. And I wish you good luck with everything that you do. Hopefully I can get involved soon.
Yeah. And I'm looking for you maybe to come volunteer, okay?
Thank you so much. I would really like that.
Okay. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Have a lovely day. Bye. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to include that as an ongoing mission of Penji to help those who help others, we want to offer a 15% discount to anyone interested in using our services while watching this video. Signing up for Penji gets you unlimited access to our vetted team of graphic design experts. And if you sign up for our services using this code, Evoluer House, all of the money that you are saving will go to Evoluer House to help those in need. Thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching or listening. I hope to see you for a new episode soon. Please like and subscribe so you can see more stories like this one and be able to be inspired by organizations like Evoluer House and Cheryl Ann Wadlington, who has done so much to help people. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
You've been listening to Unified Purpose, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest. And to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.